Welcome back. Well, yes, we start off with that particular matter, the SIP. Mr. Segun Shomi joins us now. He's the, are you still the...
Yes, I am.
It's just, we can't say that's history now.
No, it can never be. We're still in court.
Oh, okay.
Our mandate is stolen. We'll retrieve our thing. Good morning. It's nice to be on set. Let's go.
Thank you for coming on this morning. But having listened to the wife of the president, but also saw preceding that, the several programs that the government say they are putting in place. But especially after Mrs. Uwais responded to the wife of the vice president, do we still say, look, this is, because she said she spoke with her facts, and now that she has put up what she described as the current situation, isn't over and done with?
If the wife of the president says they're not feeling it in her state, Northern Nigeria is not feeling it, she asked some of the people in the audience just to see whether anybody was going to get up and say, I can feel it in my state, and they all say no.
But can that be a true standard of measurement?
Well, look, see, when you want to run a program of that nature, with the kind of budget that you have, the first thing that you will expect the thinking government to do is come up with a framework that is easy for everybody to see transparency. Otherwise, you're going to have a process where you are needing to be churning out figures that only you know, reading out numbers that only you can verify, and the real people who are supposed to be your ambassadors saying, I got it, I got it, I got it, are telling you they didn't get it. And if someone as highly placed as the wife of the president says it's a sham, then you think I call it any other thing but a sham. On this one, I stand with Mrs. Buhari.
But Mrs. Uwais also did say that at the moment, 190,000 persons are currently being paid from this particular scheme. Yes, last week too, we were told 11 million beneficiaries of that particular scheme, and that they can substantiate that.
You need to take it easy with this government when they start to ban the numbers. They have mastered the art of giving Nigerians buzzwords, fancy figures, good adjectives, and when you look at the realities on ground, you only see misery. If your social investment scheme is working very well, then your poverty indicators should be indicating that people are migrating slowly but steadily out of poverty. I can show you data of how badly they have done. But since you wanted to do the social investment scheme first, I thought I would just say, if the first lady, the wife of the president, says it's a sham, then I call it a sham. PDP calls it a sham. All Nigerians call it a sham. And I think it would be best for everybody to just say it's a sham.
Do you think it could have been better structured?
I think that they figured a clever way to convert the high office of vice president into a thrift collector who goes to the market to hustle people for money, give them money so that they can buy vote. It was nothing more than that. If it had been properly conceived, and if they had realized that you don't have, if you want to do social safety net for countries, you have to look at all of the other areas in the world where they have these kinds of interventions. And then you figure out how do they transfer this value to them. You don't go to any country in the world and see people run around in the market throwing money all over the place. It's just a joke. And if the first lady says it's a joke, I think that's good enough verdict. It's a joke. But she will know better.
Do you expect a return on investment on this kind of program?
I already told you that the first lady said it's funny. And I'm telling you that most Nigerians, do you personally know anybody that can tell you that he got the money? Except the ones that got a bit of change when they were trying to hustle out money for people to give them votes a bit fraudulently before the elections. Look, you must realize benchmark agencies don't hate Nigeria. They benchmark other countries in the world too. When we do some successes, they give us some points. And when we're not doing well, they tell us we're not doing well. If we're the poverty capital of the world, and you say you're running social investment scheme of this nature, and the poster girl of your government, the first lady, tells you it's a sham, then you think media should say it's anything other than a sham. It is a sham. But they should go and fix up whatever they've done with it. They should go and figure out where they put our money, and at the appropriate time they'll have to give account of it.
You know, they also, the BOI, we understand they're also involved in this. I think one of the president's men also spoke about the community-based targeting structure of the World Bank, which they are adopting.
Just listen to Aisha.
No, that's for the conditional
cash.
That's for the conditional cash transfer. So did your party double check those figures either with the BOI or with any of those agencies who are said to be involved in this to say, really and truly, we checked, and this is a sham?
Listen, we called them out when they started it, saying that that's not the right way to go. You have to be more systemic in your thinking if you want to get people out of poverty. That's not the way. We told them that. When they said they were putting out money, we said, hey, we're not getting evidence that this money is going to the right place. I hope you guys are not appropriating money that your cronies are stealing. And then now the first lady has come out to say we were right. If BOI wants to give money to poor people, I believe that if it's a bank, it will know a better structured way to give out that money.
But she didn't put the entire project in the entire states.
Well, I think that she put enough because she said the entire north. She said the north. She didn't say one. She said my state, the north. She asked the audience, did any of you get it? All of them said no, like kindergarten children. And then you're asking me in the south, and I'm telling you, I can't find anybody that has gotten the money in my state. Have you found any of your cousins, relatives, friends, sisters that has gotten the money?
Well, maybe there'll be an answer when we come back from the break. Join us again. All right, welcome back. Well, still looking at trying to set the agenda for the government. We do know that they've got the ERGP, and they have projections of that ERGP. The growth rates maybe about 2% or thereabouts, and in that projection, they did say, well, haven't seen the performance previously, the non-oil sector growth also averaging, I think, about 2% or thereabouts. So those are some signs. Can we describe them as such? And perhaps when they do eventually take off with all the ministers, all the aides this time around, should we be optimistic?
What is there to be optimistic about? Let's start with unemployment. In 2015, unemployment was hovering. The highest it ever got to was 10%. With them, 23.1. That's data. Can't lie.
Where's that from? What's the source?
Budget it. Food inflation. I wanted to bring you some foreign data, but I know that they don't like to hear anything foreign. So I thought we better look for something local. Food inflation. It was 9.8 in 2015. It's 13.34 now. That means that people can buy food. External debt, exaggerated profligacy. It was 10.34 billion. Today, it's 25.27 billion. It's there. Inflation rate was 9% before. Under them, it got to 18%. About now is about 11.34%. Domestic debt, painful. From 8.39 trillion, these guys like to spend money. It's 12.77 trillion now. Danger, cost of servicing debt. Because if you borrow, you have to pay back. From 559.6 billion, blimey, they are now at 2.4 trillion for servicing debt. Look, we don't accept that they have a right to be in government now. Our view is that we want that election, and hopefully the court will take care of that. In the meantime, we cannot have a constitutional lacuna, so obviously they are going to be wearing some borrowed gaps for some time. We're not going to address them with the full authority that they would normally get because we're still in court with them. So we'll just address them maybe with the previous titles that they've gotten, like general. I think that Nigeria as
president was the last 4 years.
That's gone. He finished that May 29.
But he's been sworn in at the moment.
No. So we hold the view that that's a stolen mandate. Until the courts come back and tell us that he won, then we'll adjust ourselves. In the meantime, we do not accept. What we're saying is that in the meantime, now that he has to manage this process, we are of the view that some of the things that he's not doing well, and he obviously can't do well with it, is, if you remember in 1999, General Obasanjo, when he became president then, the APC, which was a purely Western Nigeria Yoruba militia of some sort, was really running riot as a result of the overload of what they were doing before they got in there. You know what Obasanjo did? Obasanjo made it absolutely clear that he wasn't going to tolerate that underneath his watch. And slowly but gradually, they called him. In 2015, some bandits, headsmen, Fulani, right now, because the president has not handled it right, he has created a situation where there's player hating and general criminalization of an entire race under his watch, and he's doing nothing about it. Why?
Okay.
Because he has the tendency of just fumbling on the important things.
Did you also gloss over the fact that the former Minister of Labour did tell us that 8 million jobs, direct and indirect jobs, have been created as a result of the Anchor Borrowers program of the CBN?
You see the immediate parliament Gige?
Yes.
What I remember him saying was that they had about 23-point-something million unemployment that he had to deal with. It was quoted for me just last week while I was on a foreign interview, where the researchers had brought his figures and what he had said. Look, if we are creating jobs, we will know.
He said it on the program that we do have jobs.
It will impact the economy. We will not be the poverty capital of the world. We won't be this miserable. Look, the ultimate intention of all humans is the pursuit of happiness. When you find out that in a nation, suicide rate has increased tremendously, and you are looking at government not being able to determine precisely the right set of actions, almost all sections of the country now, for the first time in its history, are calling for breakaway at the same time. You see the Southwesterners saying a different thing. The Southeasterners are saying something else. The South are saying something. The North, what has gone wrong? It was never like this before. It had not always been so.
All right, let's get to Abuja. Mark.
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. Just a quick question for Mr. Showme on the social investment program. When you say that you didn't see anybody with the money, any beneficiary, what about the school feeding program? Can you attest to the school feeding program working in perhaps your community or your state?
With the greatest respect to those who want to applaud them for things that are really very elementary, the last I remember about the school feeding program was that they created a money-wasting, clownish people funding agenda that allows governors that are sitting over their states to waste money pretending to be feeding kids. When you look at the nutritional value of what they were giving those children, in most places you are very sad. And then you ask yourself, when you are looking to either increase enrollment in schools or you're looking to do something critical with education, is that what you're going to be applauding? As far as I see, I haven't gone around enough to be able to say, but the words of the words of the First Lady is enough for me on that matter. If she had been happy with it.
Just one minute. I want to confirm that you're aware that PDP governors also participated in these programs in the estate.
I do not know of any, unless you will remind me of one that has really come out to say that, oh, federal government gave me money and is doing...
Delta State participated in this program.
Delta State.
The governor is from the PDP. There was a school feeding program still going on, or there is a school feeding program still going on in Delta State.
If it is happening in Delta, if it is happening in Delta, I believe that because Okonwa is from PDP, he more than likely will be augmenting it and making sure it goes on well.
Well, we have with us in the studio this morning definitely someone from the other side, and I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say. Mr. Akim Akintayo is a former member of the All Progressives Congress Presidential Campaign Council. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you so much, Malpe.
So perhaps the debate will be out there in terms of the effect of the social investment program. But, I mean, there are other things he's talked about. He's talked about unemployment figures. He's pointed to security. He's pointed to a number of other statistics that, you know, people are extremely worried about in terms of what government says it will do and what it actually does and the effect it eventually has. What are your comments on Nigeria being the poverty capital of the world?
Well, first of all, let me just show small respect to my brother there in Lagos, Mr. Showme. I think he's just exaggerating the figures, and my own take is that he's showing
exaggerating
Nigerians.
Which figures precisely?
Look at it, he's showing documents that shows statistics of failure of PDP government. For God's sake, if they had done what they ought to do for 16 years, Nigeria will not be where it is right now.
Are we still blaming
them? No, we have to blame them.
We're blaming the PDP.
We know. Yes, we have
government
to know where we are coming from to know where we are going to. So now get my point. The social investment program was an intervention program by the federal government because the government have already assessed the level of poverty in the country, and the best they could do for the moment was to bring an intervention program to bring relief. And look, there were 3 targets for this program. One is to reduce the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria, especially in the north and of course the southern states. Then targeting local production of agricultural products, and of course employment. And all these 3 objectives were achieved. Of course, NBS statistics says about 10 million out of school children. Nigerians have about 10 million out of school children. But as it is right now, with this program, about 3 million has been able to enroll in various schools, public schools all over the country, and that's to show that there is progress in tackling the issue of out-of-school children roaming around the streets of some states in the country.
It's terrible publicity for a program when the wife of the president, not the wife of anybody else, the wife of the president comes out to say, I can't point to one beneficiary in my state. She says, oh, in Adamawa, where she comes from, only one local government that she knows of benefited from it. This is the wife of the president.
There are so many people that have so many ways of expressing their opinion. I think the First Lady's opinion or statement was to encourage more efforts, towards making the program a success.
To encourage.
Yes, he was to encourage.
When she said that perhaps
there are people who are benefited, but they are not maybe visible as they should. So more needs to be done. I think that was the message of the First Lady. And of course, even the VP's office that superintends the program will say, look, we're going to do more. Even before the election, after the election, the Vice President has been going around, still reaching out to Nigerians in the marketplaces, even in the schools, and there are still more. And let me tell you this.
What it would eventually question is the effectiveness of a program.
No, and you have to also look at the seriousness of some governors or some state government to key into what program? Key into especially the homeschool feeding program. Most governors, knowing that this program is going to succeed or will be a success, they're jettisoning the idea. They're sandbag.
I think it's
especially the PDP governors.
I asked that.
It's only one governor, PDP governors, that was able to key in, and he's not seeing the success of it.
May I come in here? When I asked the question to Mr. Showumi, it was to bring to the fore the fact that the social investment program wasn't just about some people receiving money. There was also another angle to which was the school feeding part. Yeah. But when you talk about beneficiaries receiving money, those who are on the end power, those who are supposed to be getting the 5,000 naira to the most vulnerable, those who are supposed to be participating in this lending program from the federal government,
conditional cash transfer,
and the wife of the president says she doesn't know of any beneficiary. Look, it definitely leaves a very huge question mark on the success so far, or the effect.
I have watched on your channels.
Just a moment. Okay. Of the program of let's say the baby boy, the baby of your own administration. You cannot put that on the PDP's 16 years. This is a program that you initiated. This is a program that you have executed, and the jury is still out, especially coming from the highest quarters, the presidency itself, the wife of the president.
Okay, let me ask you. Let me ask you, Mark. Haven't your channels that is well respected all over the country go out to do a documentary or a reportage, or even show some of the beneficiaries on your channels? I've watched it. I've sat in my house and I've seen it, and I've personally gone around to monitor some of the beneficiaries in some states. I have seen this thing. It's only PDP with their mischievous character and their way of life.
Well, the PDP put the words in the mouth. They put the words in the mouth of the wife of the president.
They will always exaggerate opinion. The First Lady is not saying the thing is not working, but more needs to be done. More people needs to be reached.
What do you
that's
say?
That's the point.
How do you controvert the figures he brings up on unemployment? When you look at figures on unemployment, you look at figures on inflation.
Like I keep saying,
Yes.
if we don't know where we're coming from, we will not know where we're going to. PDP was there. Let me tell you, Malkwe.
You're still saying the PDP has
yes,
the
we have to blame them.
We
have to blame them.
Of unemployment?
Yes, we have to blame them.
Do they own...
Malkwe, do you know we have about 30,000 abandoned projects in this country? All over, scattered all over the country. Are you talking about Second Niger Bridge? Are you talking about Abuja to Kaduna rail service? It was abandoned. Look at the roads, Kano to Kaduna. Are you talking about East-West Road? Even when they had a president from that region, they couldn't complete it. All these things would have employed a lot of Nigerians if all these projects had been completed. That is what. Look at. Well, let me give you an instance. When America came out from, I think, is it the First World War? They had something like a depression, and they came out with a Marshall Plan, and the Marshall Plan was to go out there and make sure infrastructure development is achieved.
The interesting thing is the ERGP is supposed to be this administration's Marshall Plan. It's been on for a while now, and people are still questioning whether it has been successful so far. And I think that's the question a lot of Nigerians are still asking of the APC, whether what it is that they have brought to the fore, it has been a success,
and whether it will be a success. I'm one of the Nigerians who is very, very proud to associate with this present government. Why? Because you can see sincerity of purpose. The difference between the past government under PDP and this government is sincerity. Why? You could see even the appointed ministers going out there supervising various projects and infrastructure development all over the country. You could see projects being completed. So there is sincerity. But unlike PDP, where even money budgeted for security, they will divide it among
Mr. Kinsayo, just a moment.
You
do know that there are huge questions in some of the ministers. I mean, there's one minister just before he left office, people were talking about him returning a certain amount of money that an international body was said to have sent in error. And, you know, the response of the minister left a lot to be desired. But let's quickly flip it back to Lagos now and hear what Mr. Shomi has to say.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Mr. Shomi, and I'd love to ask you this question. A lot of focus always seems to be on the Nigerian president at any given point in time. Do you think that is good for us? Shouldn't we kind of decentralize our focus and our expectations to the states as well, given the kind of things that has happened over the years and the kind of resources that we pump to the states?
In the build-up to May 29, I kept, thinking that what's the best for Nigeria? And the question you're asking kept occurring to me. We seem to focus too much on the presidency and one individual. And then we leave all the governors to do whatever they like there. And when they are not pulling their weight, we still blame the one person who's the president. I agree with you. We need to find a way to ask and demand more from governors. Governors have converted themselves into God knows what in this country.
Unfortunately, it doesn't have any party line.
When I say let us look at the governors, I have stepped away from party for a second.
Good.
I'm looking at the institution now. Because one day, if I believe and if my candidate wins, they will still come to him. And I think that we've done that enough. But you see, before we lose focus, sometimes people don't understand that we're not criticizing General Buhari and his presidency. No, we're critiquing it. At least that's what I do. We critique it that we may say this is what we see and this is what we want to see. There's no reason for us to spend, for them to spend 4 years in government. And we're saying emphatically that statistics pinned in food inflation at 9.8% in 2015 when they took over. And that it peaked to 19% and it's now at about 13%. All of that 19 to 13% issue with inflation of food is their baby. It doesn't matter what PDP did before he got there. That's all them. If they had left it at 9.8, that would have been PDP's. But they moved it to 19, and now it's here. And if you now say you're pumping a lot of money in agriculture, you're doing anchor borrowers program, you expect that naturally it should have an impact on the price of food because of the surplus in your harvest.
Any kind of partnership with states could have helped?
I think, look, one of the reasons why we say Atiku is the best for this country is not because of the individual. It's because we have seen that he spent a lot of time thinking about almost all of these problems and figuring out what's the best model that could work in this country. Okay. Our issue is not so much whether we're doing the right thing well. No. What we're saying with the Buhari government is that they're going full speed in the wrong direction.
Okay, well, we'll have one more thing, perhaps when we'll come back in just a moment. Don't go away. All right, let's get the concluding thoughts from Abuja. Marpe?
Oh, yes, I know Mr. Kintaya, itching to respond. You want to quickly say?
Yeah. Well, I would say my good friend and brother there is actually flip-flopping, as in is making statements that are not factual. Because I'm happy he mentioned ANCO's Buhari's program. And he refused to mention the fact that this ANCO Buhari's program has employed about 12 million Nigerians. This is not APC statement. It's a statement from CBN that, superintends over the program. And he forgot to mention that under this administration, about 10,000 police officers have been recruited for the past 2 years. Unlike in the past, under PDP, there was no single recruitment. Everything they were doing is at the back door. And that's why we are seeing the level of insecurity in the country today. That caused all these things. We cannot, remove the blame from them. So and he forgot to talk about inflation, how inflation has been reducing for the past 11 to 13 months. So he's just being economical with the truth. This country is under the good leadership of a sincere president and his vice, and they are taking us to the next level. And the next level is that Nigeria is going to see more of better security, more of jobs, and more of a fight against corruption that they refuse to fight, and more implementation of policies that will enhance fight against corruption. They refuse to implement TSA because they don't have the will, because their character is to share money.
Mr. Kintaya, we have to go. It's a fine place to leave it. Akim Kintaya is a former member of the All Progressives Congress Presidential Campaign Council. That's it from us here in Abuja. And Malpo Yusuf is back to the crew in Lagos.
Yes, indeed. Just before we go, Mr. Shomi, if you look at the average consumer price inflation rate, 2007, 5.4, 2008, 11.6, 2009, 12.7, 2010, 13.7. So that also went up while the PDP was
Look. I'm giving you statistics that cannot come from me.
Which is saying...
Which is budgeted.
About the inflation. So isn't it the same trajectory?
May 2015, 9%. April 2019, 11.37%. Fact of the matter is that they have not managed it well.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It's the same scenario that I just cited.
No.
While the PDP wasn't.
No.
It didn't manage.
Let me tell you the difference. I spared them of the real embarrassment that they should get. They actually moved from that 9% to 18.7% before they started to crawl back to these numbers. But what should interest them and interest all of us as Nigerians is unemployment. Between 2015 to date, you'll be amazed that there has been an increment in unemployment figures quarter upon quarter.
So why are you ignoring,
not once?
Why are you ignoring the 8 million that the minister said they also created?
They cannot. How can you create when you dug a big hole? You maybe probably pour a bit of sand to level just an inch of it, and you've not created anything. You met unemployment at 7.5%. You left it at 23.1%. And you are telling me you created what? If you moved it from...
Have you checked with the CBN? Because he said the CBN has got that data to verify whether or not it's true.
Do we all trust Budget It? That they've been doing a yeoman's job on behalf of everybody. They've tried their best.
But it doesn't have to be blind trust.
I'm not saying you should. Look, I've provided you. Okay. If I had brought you data from Bretton Woods organizations like World Bank and all of that, it would have been easy for you to say they hate you. I'm giving you Nigerian data. I could have brought you statistics from Nigerian Bureau of Statistics or even from the CBN. We are not perturbed that they are sitting on a stolen mandate momentarily. Our prayer and hope, and it will be proper for me to say now, that the Court of Appeal should hurry up. They're wasting our time. They should put the judge in place and let's get this trial over and done with. Nigeria is in a hurry. We need to fix this country.
Well, we need to go as well.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Well, I appreciate your comment on this morning. Shago Showomi is the spokesperson for our PDP Presidential Campaign Council. Well, that's the show today. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on this program are those of the maker and do not reflect the views, opinions, and endorsement of Channels Television.